Shalom, my brothers and sisters, shalom. This is Day by Day to Yashar'al, Nation of Believers. My name is Symmanayah, and if you're tuning in for the first time, you will come to know that Yashar'al, Nation of Believers, of whom I reference, consists of all nations, all kindreds and tongues, who seek to worship and obey Almighty Yahuwah and accept Yahusha as Mashiach. Those who seek to do the will of the Almighty Father and accept Yahusha as our Mashiach, our Messiah. It is you whom I consider my brothers, my sisters, my true family. With that said, in this segment of Day by Day to Yashar'al, Nation of Believers, Reflections and Thoughts, I want to address the issue of walking gardens. Walking gardens. Seeds will open. My brothers and sisters, I was pressed on this matter, compelled to try to assemble the right words as led by the Spirit of Yahusha, as I believe, or as I attempt to believe. Nevertheless, my brothers and sisters, this is what has been pressed on me this moment. So I'm going to try to present a case that describes us, every believer, as a walking garden. Every believer as one who walks about with seeds in us. Seeds that will open. Some open sooner than others. And these seeds are words of righteousness, working in us, through us, one towards another. Thus, I will attempt to present that case that you, me, and those that are of the family of Yashar'al are walking gardens. I will also try to present to you that as walking gardens, we never know when these seeds will open. Some of them will sprout like a light bulb going off suddenly, unexpected at times. But they will be guided to spring up, to sprout out, to light our lives up and the lives of one another at the time most needed in these last days. So let's see if I can present that case, my brothers and sisters. Seeds will, walking gardens, seeds will open. Do you know what was planted in you? Again, greetings, my brothers and sisters. I'm going to ask your patience, for this might take a little bit of time. Sometimes in patience, we can discover some good things, but again, it's your choice. Are you aware that there are countless scriptures referencing the importance of agriculture, specifically seeds? Are you aware that seeds are used in a variety of ways to convey messages and influence our lives? Have you planted any seeds? Have someone planted any seeds in you? Who brings life to these seeds? Have we been exposed to realize when seeds are planted that they break open in due season? Have we come to realize that the environment can make a difference on the life of seeds? If a seed dies, a plant or life emerges, but if that life does not make it to maturity, that does not mean the seed never existed. So it is with us, my brothers and sisters. Even if we don't make it to maturity in this walk with our Mashiach, our Messiah, it does not mean we are not family and never existed in the body of one. It does not remove us from the book of life. Let us remember these words. Seeds represent the identity of purpose by the word of the Most High. True identity is established by knowing the seed. When we know the seed, the word, it is said, it is done, it is that it is, by the word of the Most High. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, when one discerns the seed of a matter, purpose is brought to light, and uncovering takes place. When purpose is identified, this is reflective of true discernment, which means Yahusha has revealed, uncovered, or made known. Are you aware that if we are family, a body of one, we are Abraham's seed? Not seeds, plural, seed. Consider these scriptures. Genesis 17:1 through 17:7 reads that, and it came to be when Abram was 99 years old that he appeared to that Yahuwah appeared to Abram, to him, I am Almighty, walk before me in perfect, and I give my covenant between me and you, and shall greatly increase you. And Abram fell on his face, and Elohim spoke with him, saying, As for me, look, my covenant is with you, and you shall become a father of many nations. No longer is your name called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham, because I shall make you a father of many nations. I shall make you bear fruit exceedingly, and make nations of you, and sovereigns shall come from you. And I shall establish my covenant between me and you and your seed after you in their generations for an everlasting covenant, to be Elohim to you and your seed after you. Yes, this is a promise to Abraham. Yes, it talks about he will have descendants. He will have many descendants. But mainly, this is focusing on those that will be of his seed, the seed of worship, to worship the Almighty Father. You see, many of us stop at Abraham and just look at his sperm and the reproduction. But that doesn't state the completeness of his descendants or heirs to Abraham. The completeness consists of those who seek to worship and obey the Almighty Father Yahuwah. Pray on understanding that. And I say this, my brothers and sisters, because there are some genetically that are descendants of Abraham, but spiritually have chose not to worship the Almighty Father. So not all that is Yashar'al is of Yashar'al, the family of believers. Pray on that. Galatians 3:16 says, but the promises were spoken to Abraham and to his seed. He does not say into seeds as of many, but as of one, and to your seed, who is Messiah. Messiah, our life, that seed, that one seed came life. That seed we became one with and accepting Yahushua as Messiah. So as he talked about the seed of righteousness, who is Messiah, let us come to realize that not all will accept Yahushua as our Mashiach. Now I would like to invite you to research examples of firstborn and first fruits used throughout scriptures. You will come to appreciate how firstborns and first fruits are relative to the use of seed and seeds. Regarding Abraham's seed, remember, no house divided against itself can stand. And so if Abraham had any offspring by birth, any Hebrew descendants who chose or choose not to worship and obey, then these are not part of the promise of our family, of being of our family. In other words, my brothers and sisters, the spirit of righteousness in Abraham through generations brought about the seed of life that the Most High chose to manifest his flesh, manifest his word in the flesh as Yahushua. That seed, the Messiah, the seed of life, my brothers and sisters, I submit to you. Now the spirit to worship the Most High Father joins and represents oneness, righteousness, and it is this type of multiplication we should embrace. Seeing the spirit of righteousness multiplied as the sands of the sea. Yes, my brothers and sisters, the spirit of worshiping and obeying the Almighty Father, these are those who will and have received the promise. So many have given into genetics as a result of discovering their Hebrew roots, but they have exhibited a sense of entitlement as a Hebrew or Abari per se of Abraham. Thus, they are void of understanding the importance of true worship and accepting Yahushua as the seed of life. Those who are Hebrew by race and are not joined into the body of one, those who do not seek to worship and obey the Father, are not our family. Pray and watch. I would like to proceed further by submitting scriptures regarding seeds, my brothers. Matthew 13, chapter 1 through 23, if we read it, it talks about the parable of the seeds. If you read the first part that explains the seed, it talks about seeds, some falling. Let me just read it, portions of it. This is the 13th chapter, verse 1 through 23, but I'm going to read some specific verses. This is the Mashiach speaking a parable. In 13:4, he said, and as he sows some seeds, he's speaking of seeds, some indeed fell by the wayside, and the birds came and devoured them. Others fell on rocky places where they did not have much soil. Immediately they sprang up because they had no depth of soil. 13:6 said, but when the sun was up, they were scorched, and because they had no root, they withered. 13:7 said, others fell among thorns, and the thorns came up and choked them. 13:8 reads, and others fell on good soil, yielded a crop, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. He who hears, let him hear. I want to move down where he begins to explain this prophecy. And he says in 13 chapter, verse 18, moving down to verse 18, you then hear the parable of the sower. When anyone hears the word of the rain and does not understand it, then the wicked one comes and snatches away that which was sown in his heart. This that is sown by the wayside. 19, when anyone hears the word of the rain. Okay, I read that one. 20. And that sown, and it said on the wayside, and that sown on rocky places, this is he who hears the word and immediately receives it with joy. Yet he has no root in himself, but is short-lived, and when pressure or persecution arises because of the word, immediately he stumbles. 22. And that sown among thorns is he who hears the word, and the worry of this age and the deceit and riches choke the word, and it becomes fruitless. 13:23. This is that seed that is successful, my brothers. It is sown on good soil. Are we not earthen vessels made from the soil? It is he who hears the word, linked with the Most High. Do we not in our journey come to hear and understands it? Understanding comes quicker for some than others. Understanding comes in due season to those who seek to worship and obey. Who indeed bears fruit and yields, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. So let me read 13:23. And that sown on the good soil is he who hears the word and understands it, who indeed bears fruit and yields, some 100-fold, some 60, some 30. 1 Corinthians 3:6 read, I planted, Apollos watered, but Elohim was giving growth. And then John 12:24 says, truly I say to you, unless a grain of wheat falls into the ground and dies, it remains alone. But if it dies, it bears much fruit. My brothers and sisters, I have presented scriptures that display how the word seed and seeds represent real actions in our lives. Let me set the stage for your examination some more. Come venture with me and be very prayerful. Remember, scriptures inform us that we have to come into a life that we have come into a life more measurable, beyond measure. Come into a life beyond measure. Let me slow down, my brothers and sisters. Forgive me. Scriptures also inform us that it is the set-apart spirit of Yahushua that makes written words alive. Is it possible to receive an abundance of information from scriptures? Is it possible to get something different each time we read the scriptures? Something that builds on what we read the first time? Is it possible that we can read one passage of scripture, read it again, and each time we get more meaning that one builds on the other? In regards to the seeds that did not fall on good soil, yes, they still existed. The word of the Most High still existed. But the seeds that hit good soil are our earthen vessels. We who have received the Most High by Yahushua have been restored into fellowship. Could we as believers represent good soil? And if that be, my brothers and sisters, are we carrying righteous seeds in us? You know, scriptures tell us, my brothers and sisters, that sometimes it is prudent and wise to deliver one to Satan for the destruction of the flesh in order that his spirit be saved in the day of Master Yahushua. As it reads in 1 Corinthians 5:5. This is when we have someone who is a brother or sister who fights and struggles and kicks against the pricks. And as they do such, the fruit of their actions could lead to their physical death, but it does not mean their spirit will not be saved in the day of Master Yahushua. Notice how it states his spirit being saved in the day of Master Yahushua. I submit to you, brothers and sisters, each of us, when we pass on, die asleep, who have made a choice to worship and obey the Almighty Yahuwah and accept Yahushua we will be saved. Not all of us reach maturity. There are many supporting scriptures regarding being saved or receiving salvation. Do not succumb to the deceivers who are void of knowing the voice of the Spirit of Yahushua, who teach lies not knowing the structure of our existence. We make mistakes, my brothers and sisters. We will fall and we will stumble, but the atoning power is active for those who seek to worship and obey the Almighty Father and accept Yahushua as Mashiach. For the sake of time, I'm not going to go into details about defining the structure of salvation or being saved, per se, those words. But on the matter of seed, Matthew 13:23, we see the words, we see where it states the word, comparing it to seeds. We see where it emphasizes understanding. I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, not all will understand all scriptures right away. That the word during this journey, we may not understand everything, but that does not mean our names will not be written in the book of life. All scriptures inform us, while these earthen vessels, this flesh, will always war against the spirit, we will be continually refined and perfected through the guidance of the Spirit of our Mashiach, Yahushua. Let me read 1 Corinthians 3:6. It says, I planted, Apollos watered, but Elohim was giving growth. I am compelled to believe that the word, like a seed that was planted, is also water, as stated in Ephesians 5:26, which says, in order to set it apart and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word. So 1 Corinthians 3:6 says, I planted, Apollos watered, but Elohim was giving growth. I submit to you that it was the righteousness of the Most High that made it all possible. When Paul is saying, or Shalum is saying, I planted, he was used by the Most High. And we see that evident in his writings. I'm compelled to believe that Apollos was used by the Most High through the Spirit of Yahushua. He added the water, and that many others who were used by the Most High contributed to the growth. Note that Ephesians 5:26 stated washing of water by the word. Let us be mindful also, John 14:26 that I mention often, but the helper, the set apart spirit, whom the Father shall send in my name, he shall teach you all and remind you of all that I've said to you. So we have the washing of water by the word. We have the spirit of Yahushua teaching and bringing things to remembrance. We see in 2 Corinthians 6:16, if we read that, we see where the Most High dwells in us. We see in Ephesians 3:17, it states that the Messiah dwells in our hearts through belief. Now, my brothers, so one plants a seed. Consider this. If one plants a seed in a garden, each seed will sprout at a different pace, some sooner than others. Scriptures have been known to mention the word first fruits. If you research agricultural life, one would be able to discover that some seeds mature quicker than others. Many farmers who desire to produce a more superior crop or faster growing crop that matures quicker will separate the first fruits, the first seeds, in order to enlarge their numbers during next planting season more quickly. I have submitted in previous recordings that I think a blueprint for this walk is embedded in the feast days and missed by many. In that blueprint, I suggest that the feast days, the one that talks about first fruit, has an embedded message that informs us that some will mature quicker than others, to be mindful of that, to prevent us from becoming frustrated. But getting back on the subject, walking gardens. Have you ever read something or someone told you something that was righteous, but it did not dawn on you or take effect until later on? So then it is possible once you were exposed to it, it was a matter of time or confirmation before you really knew its purpose. Sometimes we may receive righteous words that are planted in us as seeds, my brothers and sisters, and we may not come to know what it means until later on. Isaiah 55:11 lets us know that the word of the Most High will never return to him void or empty. So we see that the word, compared to a seed, have a job to do, have work to do, have tasks to perform. We also read in Revelation 3:19 where the Most High said, as many as I love, I reprove and discipline. So be passionate and repent. So if the Most High loves us, which he does, and will reprove us, which he does, and discipline, can we look at reproof and the discipline of the Most High as coming through righteous words, right rulings from us, one towards another, from his written words? Hebrews 12:11 informs us that no discipline, Hebrews 12:11, I'll read that one. And indeed, no discipline seems pleasant at the time, but grievous. But afterwards it yields a peaceable fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. So I say to you, my brothers and sisters, reproof, discipline, being trained by it, these action words, these words, do they not represent seeds in us, seeds that may even sprout as we come to get to know what they mean and understand what they're saying? Yes, we see many scriptures that define the possibility that we could indeed, and I believe we are, like walking gardens with seeds that mature and sprout out at different times as we get it, lighten up like light bulbs. My brothers, I think there's some critical things we need to realize in these end times. We come to hear the Almighty's word or read it and experience it coming to life. Sometimes we don't get it. We don't get the understanding or the purpose right away, so it sits within us. Occasionally someone confirms in order the Spirit brings to remembrance, and we still might struggle getting what is needed. One day, out of the blue, so to speak, we get it. Like a light bulb going off, it becomes crystal clear. All while this was going on, we continued to receive righteous words by reading and studying or hearing the word, multitasking, so to speak. Sometimes the words and our messages make sense. Sometimes it takes a while to receive them. So we walk as a garden, receiving seeds of righteousness, waiting to sprout. So here's why I believe it's important to bring this up at this time. As we walk this journey called life, my brothers and sisters, knowing that these are end times, these are the last days, as we walk this journey, carrying seeds of righteousness, words of righteousness, some of which we may not understand, I believe in these last days we're going to see words, messages that we've heard, words that we've read begin to sprout out. Seeds begin to break open. Seeds of righteousness break open and sprout out. We will see an increase in understanding of what is right, a rise in discernment, my brothers and sisters. You see, we know, and we have come to know, that this life can be, or at least the actions that we've seen displayed throughout scriptures have been cyclical. In other words, we've seen some of the same things happen over and over and over and over again. But my brothers and sisters, in these last days, these end times, the cycles will stop. We are in the season where this is the last go round. So I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, many seeds that we carry will begin springing up like light bulbs. We will begin to be amazed, some overwhelmed, some excited. Some will fight and kick against the pricks, and some will dismiss it and succumb to unbelief and rebellion. This journey is filled with complexities. It will be wise to pray, discern, and come to understand that there are details that can make this life more bearable and understood. It will be wise to come to grips that the word has been mentioned as seeds, as water, and beyond, as living instructions and guidance from the Most High. These words can make us stronger and wiser. But this is a message to let you know, as things intensify, as chaos breaks out, do not despair. At the time that is needed, if we seek earnestly to hear from the Spirit of Yahushua, His words will be brought to our attention, will be brought to mind, will be brought to remembrance. And the seeds, the purpose of those words will open, and we will fulfill what is necessary to accomplish what lies ahead. Be encouraged, my brothers and sisters, walking gardens. Seeds will open, seeds of righteousness will sprout, and we will witness something amazing for navigating through these end times, these last days. As chaos and as famine, pestilence, drought, diseases emerge, as humbling times increase, know that the Most High will honor all promises. All scriptures will be fulfilled. All righteous words will come to life to those who are exercised by it. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. Pray and watch. But know that you are equipped with the seeds of promise as it relates to His words, as well as the seed of promise as it relates to the Mashiach being joined with us, or we join with Him. Pray and watch, my brothers and sisters. The complexity of this journey will unfold. The endurance that is needed will be presented. The things we've taken for granted, we will wake up. We'll wake up. Some of us will. The remnant will come to be. Yashar'al will be gathered from the four corners of the earth. I say this repeatedly. Let us seek to grow in discernment and understanding so that we can press forward with all that is necessary to strengthen us, so that in our worship and obedience we lift up Yahushua, and let us behold him draw all men and present Yashar'al, a nation of believers, before Almighty Yahuwah. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, may the life of the Almighty Father enrich you with much discernment and understanding. Until next time, you walk in gardens, we walk in gardens. Let us behold the seeds of righteousness as they sprout out in our lives one towards another. And let us participate in building up the body of one, the body that is called by the name of Almighty Yahuwah's people, Yashar'al. Until next time, Shalom, Shalom, Shalom.